Hey guys, Big Mike here. Just got back from the Boston Comic Con 2015, and I'm here to show you the stuff that I got signed and the sketches and other art that I got. So here's a little bit of an overview right there, and why don't I get into showing you who signed what. Alright, so here we have the recent Black Canary #1, signed by artist Annie Wu, whose work on this title is excellent. It's kind of a companion book to Batgirl, the current series, and I got issue 35, the first issue featuring the current creative team, signed by artist Babs Tarr. There's a signature right above the cell phone. The original Walking Dead artist Tony Moore was there, and so he signed my Volume 1 trade paperback. Right on, Mike. Tony Moore. Very nice guy. All the people that I met at the con this year, all the artists and writers, very nice, very personable. It was a pleasure to meet all of them. Weren't too bad. The biggest line, though, was definitely for Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti, who are both the artists, but they've also written the Harley Quinn series that's been pretty popular. There's a Harley Quinn Power Girl mini signed by Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti, apologies for the glare, the writers, and Stefan Roux, the artist, also signed it. This is definitely a funny superhero book that I've been enjoying. Speaking of funny superhero comics, my most recent favorite funny superhero comic would be Superior Foes of Spider-Man. Veteran artist Steve Lieber signed it for me. He's not somebody who you usually think of when you think of humor comics, but that's just because he hasn't really done them before. I bought from him Underground, which was also written by Jeff Parker, and he was there too, so both Jeff Parker and Steve Lieber signed it for me, and Steve Lieber drew a little head sketch in it, which is very cool. I haven't read it yet, but both of these are creators I like, so I'm sure it's great. Speaking of Jeff Parker, the first trade paperback from his run on Thunderbolts, or his run on Thunderbolts proper, he did a little story before this one. He signed that one. He signed Convergence Shazam #1, featuring art by the excellent Evan Doc Shaner, who also drew most of the Flash Gordon comics in this collection, which Mr. Parker signed over here to Mike. Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, classic DC artist. Any DC licensing you've seen from the 80s is basically either his work or Dick Giordano's, or both of them together. He drew this Batman Hulk crossover that is one of the best looking comics I've ever seen. And there is his signature at the top for me. He also signed the Lost Episode Batman 66 #1, based on a Harlan Ellison story, and it was signed, like I said, Mr. Garcia Lopez, and inker Joe Prado was there too, who signed it, so it was great to get that signed. Just a little tidbit on this: it has some behind the scenes stuff, and it has the complete story in pencils form, so it's a great opportunity to see Jose Luis Garcia Lopez's pencils, and the finished work looks great too. Squirrel Girl artist Erica Henderson was there, and I bought a little $5 sketchbook that she had where she drew pictures based on 80s movies, and she signed it right there and drew a little Audrey from Little Shop of Horrors, which was cool of her. Chew is one of my favorite current comics. John Layman and Rob Guillory were both there, which was awesome, so they signed my Volume 1, and Rob Guillory drew a quick head sketch in it too, which was, again, very cool of him to do so. If you're not reading Chew, it's funny, it's heartfelt, it's pretty much everything you could want in a comic. It's also a little gross at times, but it doesn't hurt the quality. Jason Latour, artist of Southern Bastards, also the writer of the Spider-Gwen series that is currently very popular. Signed my Southern Bastards Volume 1. And again, just for glare, we strive for no quality here. Ribs. Joe Prado, the inker of that Batman 66 comic, also penciled a Warlord series a few years ago and did a quick little Batman head sketch for me in it too. Thank you, Mr. Prado. Legendary Doctor Strange and Howard the Duck artist Frank Brunner was there. Honestly, I like this cover a lot better without the modern coloring, but his work is stunningly detailed and gorgeous and innovative. He signed that for me. I wanted to get a sketch from him, but he was all booked up, unfortunately. I saw a couple sketches he did, and they looked fantastic. Amy Reeder, who is credited as Amy Reeder Hadley, drew a Madame Xanadu series that is beautiful, quite frankly, and signed #1 for me on the inside. Yeah, it is bent on the cover. I got it real cheap, but it's great. It's seriously nice looking comic, written by Matt Wagner, so you know it's good. So Brian Azzarello, Eduardo Rizzo, and Dave Johnson, the writer, artist, and cover artist of 100 Bullets, respectively, were all there. I'd previously gotten Wonder Woman #1 signed by Cliff Chiang, and there is Azzarello's signature right there. They also worked on one of my favorite funny superhero comics, bitterly, bitingly sarcastic, but hilarious, Dr. 13, Architecture and Mortality. So his signature is not on that page. There we go. Cliff Chiang signed it in 2012. Wow, time flies. And there's Azzarello's signature. So here we are, 100 Bullets #1. Great, gritty Vertigo crime series, signed by Dave Johnson, the cover artist, Azzarello, and Eduardo Rizzo, the interior artist, who has a very unique, recognizable style. Dave Johnson, excellent cover artist, who also drew Superman, Red Son, a series written by Mark Miller, who would go on to get a lot of success in Hollywood with movies made out of Kick-Ass, Wanted, Kingsman, and I think there's one or two others in the works there. Rare interior work by Dave Johnson, who told me he's really just sticking with covers now, but I liked his interiors on this series as well. And then we come to Evan Dorkin and Sarah Dyer. Sarah Dyer primarily works as a colorist, although she has her own comic, Action Girl. I don't know when the last time it was published, but it's a great all-ages title. And Evan Dorkin, where are you, Evan Dorkin? There you are. His most famous creation, of course, Milk and Cheese. It was great listening to him talk. It was awesome that he could make it up here. So I was very glad to get this from him, and something else that I'll show you that's cool in a minute. Additionally, Dork was his self-titled book before he changed the name to House of Fun. And this comic is kind of a Dark Night of the Soul auto-bio strip, which I don't usually like. He's usually a humor guy, almost primarily, but this is a really, really amazing look into what was going on in his life and in his head at the time. I can't believe he put it on paper and put it out. It's a real gutsy comic, but anyway, it was great meeting him. I would have gone to the whole show just to meet him. He's such a good cartoonist. Last but not least, let's look at some art. Evan Dorkin, I don't know how much he was charging for a sketch, but he had a box of cheap art. A lot of like production skills from an animation special he did. This is, or concept art. This is one of them. And this is another. And it's cool to own any art by him. I couldn't believe he was letting stuff go for not too much money. I was very glad about that. I mean, all this was bought in a pack. He was selling pages and pages in a pack. So you got some, goofy pages like this too, but it's still cool to have, especially coupled with the other two. Speaking of production art, Mr. Garcia Lopez, there was a whole bunch. I got this Joker production art. I don't know what it's for exactly, but it looks fantastic. Highly detailed pencils, even this kind of sketchy form. There's the Joker in a traditional clown outfit, which you don't see too much. And naturally, he signed it too. So that was pretty awesome. Last but not least, Annie Wu, the Black Canary artist, drew me a picture of Doctor Strange. and it came out fantastic, of course. So thank you very much, and thanks for watching. I hope everybody else who went to Boston Comic Con had as great a time as I did, and I'll catch you with the next video whenever I put that out. Thank you very much for watching.